So yesterday we have observed different message types, right, in this program. So yesterday we have created this program using, are we using a select statement? No. So we have gone through different events yesterday. So initialization, at selection screen, and start of selection. These three events we have gone through, right? So what is the use of initialization event?
To pass default
Yeah,
value.
to populate the default values for the selection screen inputs. But we can also achieve through default statement, but we cannot pass the calculated values here. We cannot pass the calculated values in default statement. To pass the calculated values, we have to use initialization only. Okay. So this will execute before displaying the selection screen. What is that selection screen?
Validate the user inputs.
Yeah, that selection screen is used to validate the user inputs. Okay. So there are different types of validations. The first type of validation is checking is there some value entered by the user or not. If we enter something, we need to validate whether that value is a valid value or not, right? How can you validate the values? By checking against the master data tables. Okay. How can you validate values like employee ID, material numbers, departments? You have to check whether that entry is available in the master table or not. For that, what we are doing here, we have implemented select single statement because we are taking parameter here and in the selection screen, the user entered some employee ID. And now we are trying to validate that employee ID by using select single statement. Okay. What is the primary key of this ZDemo employee table? Employee ID, right? Are we passing all the primary key fields in where condition or not? Are we passing all the primary key fields or not in the where condition?
Yes, sir.
We are passing because there is only one primary key. Select single. Are we selecting all the fields of the table? No, we are
No.
selecting only one field, that is employee ID. Because I need only that employee ID. I am just checking that whether this employee ID, whatever entered by the user, is available in this table or not. If sub RC equal to 0, that employee is there in the table. Not equal to 0, it is not there in the table. So it is not a valid value. And I am returning error message. Okay. What is start of selection event?
To write business
In start
logics.
of selection, we write the actual business logic. Okay. The data selections, any calculations, everything we apply in start of selection. Okay. I'll show you one more. End of selection. So this is to display the output. Usually we display output here. Once all your data is selected, we display the output here. In which event? What is the event to display the output? End of selection. End of selection is the event. Okay. So end of selection is the event, right? Now, how many messages types we have observed yesterday? Error, success, warning, information, abandoned, system exception. Now tell me, out of these all message types, what is that message type which is going to stop the program processing?
Error.
Error message.
Only error message?
Abandoned.
Append and X also, system exception also going to stop the program processing, right? But error will display the error message, but X type X message will where we can check this X type X messages. I've shown you a T code ST22.
ST22.
It will raise a system exception. If you use message type X, it will raise a system exception. Append also, it will terminate the program processing. Okay, but warning, it will display the warning message. If you click on enter, it will proceed further. Information, it will display the pop-up. If you click on continue, it will proceed further, right? Success, it won't stop the program processing. It is for success messages or status. Is everyone clear? Now we'll create a program using like we apply. Yesterday we have already created select statement, right? Are we selecting all the fields or are only required fields? We are using select star. What does that mean?
all the state.
We are
All
selecting
the
all the
fields.
fields. How many fields are there?
3 fields.
No, here it's a different table, right? This in this table I have five fields, right? This employee department table I have five fields. Employee ID and department ID as the primary keys, and remaining are the non-primary key fields. I've used include here. Include means structure concept. I've created a structure with required fields and I have added that structure here using dot include. How many fields I have here? Five fields. So here unnecessarily or maybe not unnecessarily, we are selecting all the fields and we are not sure are we going to use all the fields or not. Okay, let's create another program. C38, employee data report. Create the program. Let's save in the package. Select your transport request. It is not your transport request. We have created one transport request. Where is ours? This one, program and employee report. Select your transport request and click on continue. You can select your transport request as long as it is in modifiable status. Once you released it, you cannot select the transport request. Okay. Now, now my requirement is to select employee data, employee master data. What are all the employee master data is there? I wanted to display. Okay. Now I'm not going to use any inputs. I'm not going to use any inputs, but I want to select all the employee data. So now tell me, what is the first statement? We should have, what is the first event we need to implement? Initialization. What is the next event? At
Selection
selection
screen.
screen. And what is the next event?
Start of selection.
And what is the next event?
End
End
of
of
selection.
end of selection. You may or may not use these events, but this is the order of the events. Okay. In every program going forward, you have to first include all the events in the sequence. City and phone number is not there. Let's maintain this data. Or we'll take date of join, okay? Or we'll take date of join as input. You know how to maintain this data, right? Where you can maintain. You have created table maintenance, right? Go to SM30, enter the table name, click on edit. Still taking time. Okay, looks like it is going to the short dump because we have changed the table, right? We have changed the table structure and we did not regenerate it. I think we have to regenerate the maintenance later, okay? For now, just go with date of join as input. We have to regenerate the maintenance because we did some table changes. The program level use p underscore doj type. What is the type I have to take? Check what is the data element. This is the data element for data of join. Use this data element.
ZMO.
Yeah. Now, if I want to pass any default value, some calculated value, if you want to pass, use installation event. For example, p underscore doj, it is optional, okay? If you want to pass default values, use it, otherwise not. For example, minus some 10, okay? In net selection screen, is it a mandatory input or not? So I want to make it as a mandatory input. Then add validation in at selection screen. There is one alternative. There is one alternative that is obligatory. Observe this statement. Obligatory. What is the meaning of obligatory? Obligatory means it, you are saying that it is the mandatory input. Without entering this you should not proceed further, right? Let's check how it works. Activate the program. If you add obligatory statement to the parameter, that means that input is mandatory. Okay, it is activated. Now execute. Can you observe this? For this parameter, there is one red color asterisk symbol, right? This one.
Yes, sir.
What does that mean? That means it is a
Mandate.
Mandatory.
mandatory input. Wherever you see in SAP, you can see these fields, input fields in different places in standard transactions also. What does that mean? That is a mandatory input. Without entering that value, you cannot proceed further. Let's remove the value and execute. Execute. What it is saying? Fill out all
Fill out
required
all the
entry
required
fields.
fields.
Fill out all required entry fields. So do we need to write a validation in net selection screen to check is there a value or not? Did I implement any validation? Did I implement any validation on the date of join field in net selection screen event? No.
No, sir.
So still it is validating using this obligatory. Okay. But let's enter. It will validate whether there is at least some value or not. What obligatory will do? It will only check does user entered any value or not. But it cannot validate the exact value. Is it a value? Is it a valid value or not? Obligatory cannot validate. For example, if I enter like this 0001 as year, let's execute. Is it raising any error message?
No.
No, right? Because it doesn't know is it a valid value or not, right? It doesn't know is it a valid value or not. Let's remove the year and check. So actually, this data of join data type is validating this, not the obligatory. This data type property, right? We have applied datum in the data element level. So that is validating this, not this obligatory feature. Okay. It is expecting date in that format. All these validations are coming from domain level. Okay. These validations are automatically performing from domain level, not from the obligatory, because we are using data element, right? Now if I enter some value, value is it a valid year or valid date or not? Obligatory cannot do that. If you pass some value, it will take it. But how can you validate the value? Is it a valid value or not? Where can you validate? That you can do in at selection screen event. You have to do it in at selection screen event. Also, is it displaying any specific message? Is this obligatory? What is the field that you need to enter, or what is the field that is missing input? No, it will just display some generic message, right? Entry required for enter value for all required fields. That doesn't mention about date of join or anything. To validate the value, what is the event that you have to use? At selection screen. All right. Is initial, then raise a error message. type E. E means error
Yeah.
message. And if you want to validate anything like if you don't want to allow date which is less than some specific less than some 01 01 20 10, you should not allow dates before 2010, right? Even if user enters this date, you should not allow because your company established on 2010. So your employees date of joins should starts from 2010 only, right? Does that make sense? Your company established in 2010, and if you enter employee date of join as 2008, is it a valid value? Should we allow that?
No.
No. That's why we are filtering here itself. We are stopping that entry and we are not going to provide it to the select statement. I'm saying that enter valid date. Now let's check how it will work. Is it the correct date format? What I am passing here? Is it the correct date format what I am passing here? What is the condition? If date of join is less than January 1st 2010, then raise the error. Date of join should be beyond January 1st
2010.
2010. So I'm passing that value, right? What is the check value? So is the date format in the correct order only, or is it wrong? What
No,
is the
first
SAP's internal date format?
year has to come first, then month.
I'm using date, month, year here. But what is the actual SAP's date format? Year,
Year, month, date.
month, date. This is the correct format you have to pass in the program level. Output date format might be different, but this is the internal date format. Activate. So you found the difference, right? Obligatory is not going to validate the value. So it just expects is there some input are there or not there in the input. Okay. It will allow even if you enter any value. It won't validate is that value available in the database or not, is that value falls in the proper condition or not. It won't check. It will just expect some value in that input field. Okay. Now execute. So it will allow. We should not get any error messages for this scenario. Now let's change the date to 2009, then execute. What it is saying? What is it saying? It raised a error message to enter valid date. Where are we doing that validation? In which event?
At selection screen.
In at selection screen event, we are doing that validation. Okay. Obligatory will just allow any value. Is everyone clear? Now write our business logic. In which event we have to write our business logic?
Start of selection.
Start of selection. Select Do we need to use star? I want only, go to the table. I don't want all of this data. I want only, I want to see who joined on a specific date in the company. I just want their employee ID and their name. I don't want any other details. I just need their employee ID and name. I don't want their anyway date of join. I know I'm providing it as input. I don't need city, country, and phone number. I just want their employee ID and employee name. How to write that select statement? Select EMP ID, EMP name. Is that EMP name only? Yeah, EMP name from which table? This table. What is the next statement?
Into table.
Into table.
Table.
I'm using inline declaration here. I'm not using separate data statement to define the internal table. I'm using inline declaration. It will declare the internal table here itself. IT underscore EMP data. This is the internal table. Then where DOJ equal to this date of join. Okay. Now it will select what are all the records equal to this date of join with two fields, employee ID and employee name. Okay. If sy-sub rc equal to 0, then do something. Okay. And here we'll display the output. CL demo output. Just remember this syntax. Okay. This is the class method. You'll get more clarity when we are working on object oriented. Okay. Pass your internal table. Check the syntax. Here we have to observe one more thing. We are using new ABAP syntax, advanced ABAP syntax, using new internal table inline declaration, using this inline declaration concept. We are going to use comma between each field, and we are going to use this inline declaration at the date data internal table name. Here you have to pass at the date symbol for input parameters in where condition. This symbol you have to provide this escape symbol. Okay, that is mandatory. Clear? Check the syntax. Activate. Execute. Let's enter some data of join. Execute. 04/12/2022. Is there any record with that date? 04/12/2022. No record available in the table. It should display the empty result. Still executing. Not because our select statement is complex, but the server is slow. It is taking time to execute. So it is same scenario. If you use unnecessary select statements, if you are selecting unnecessary data using select star, right, your program will be like this when you execute. It will take time. Okay. I got empty data because there is no record with this date available. Then what is the available value? Let's try 06/12 06/12/2022. Now execute. Now I have how many records I have? 1, 2, 3, 4 records. with 0, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4 records I have. I got the employee ID and employee name of those employees who joined on 0, 6, 12. Clear? I got 4 records with only limited fields, whatever the data I want to use. Okay? Clear? Now let's change it to select star instead of individual fields. Let's use star here. Star here. Change the date 0612. Execute. Now I got same 4 records. I got the same 4 records, but it is displaying all different fields, right? All the fields of the table, right? If I use select star, correct? It's going to select all the fields for the same records, right? Is everyone clear? So always try to select only required fields. Don't use star unless until it is required. If you need all the fields of the table, then go with select star. If you need only limited fields of the table, then go with the required fields. Clear? Is it a primary key here? Date of join. Is it a primary key in the table?
No.
No.
It is not a primary key, but still I am using it, right? Because I want the employees who joined on a particular date. That is my requirement. If I use primary key fields like employee ID, am I going to get all the employees? No, I'm going to get only that particular employee. What I am passing in the where condition using where emp id equal to some 100. Now am I going to get all the records who joined on that particular date? Let's try 0612. There is no record.
నాది
There is no record at all for 100. Let's try 0112. I'm going to get only that particular record. If you pass all the primary key fields, I'm not going to get all the employees who joined on this date, right? 0112. If you use employee ID, so remove the employee ID to get records whose date of joining is so and so. Okay. Or if you want to select all the employees from city Hyderabad, what is your condition? Where city equal to city name. Then you will get all the employees who belongs to city Hyderabad. Correct? So depends on the requirement, your where condition will be vary. Here I am going to select all the records who joined on a specific date of join. Clear? Is everyone clear?